Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is a game beloved by many people, old and young. Those who started out with the original Paper Mario, and those who start out with Super Paper Mario, and even those further beyond who start out with Origami King, Sticker Star, and the more not as, well, beloved games in the franchise of Paper Mario. But this one here, the Supreme King, the reigner of all, right here, looking at it in the flesh, is definitely the one people love the most. As you can tell, is even getting its remake at this rate. And this is me explaining to you, if you have or haven't played, get a little synopsis for it as well, why Paper Mario: Thousand-Year Door, in my opinion, out of any Paper Mario game, is the one that does deserve its second coming, as you will, in the vein of it coming back into the Nintendo Switch on May 23rd, 2024. Pre-orders available now. This is why Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door deserves this resurgence to the newest generation. The introduction of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is as follows from even the instruction book itself. To read through. Hello there, Mario. I'm now on holiday traveling in the Mushroom Kingdom. In my travels, I came in possession of a mythical map, a treasure map, actually. It was inside a box I got from an old merchant in a town called Rogueport. But since it would be too difficult for me to try and go find treasure all by myself, I thought you could help me hunt for it. Will you? Of course, won't you? Ow. I've included the map with this letter, so please bring it with you when you come. I'll meet you at Rogueport. That means you must come from Peach. Then Mario headed to Rogueport, met with a Goomba gal of Goombella, and now is talking to Professor Franklin, who has told Mario that there are now 7, well, crystal stars. And the only way to release the treasure of said crystal stars is by collecting all of them and opening the Thousand-Year Door. And that is the journey of where Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, fitting title, begins. And let's get into the partner details of each one in a quick little recap summary. So each partner has unique little quirks that they can do and abilities that they can show out. With Goombella being able to tattle, you have Koopa, who can do his power shell, kind of big attack move there, but actually get objects from different places. These are both out-of-game and in-game mechanics. You got Flurry, who can do the gusting of wind, I guess you could call, and the well, I guess that would be the best thing about what Flurry does, right? I guess there is some glitches that she could create, but that'd be the main premise of that. You got Yoshi here, who is just, it's a Yoshi. I mean, you have to love Yoshi. You play Mario, you gotta love what's going on there. You actually have to choose the color of the egg, fun fact, with the timing of how you allow the egg to hatch, of like how long or how short. Very cool little mechanic to even have in a game like this, and I do hope, obviously, the remake of it, which is poofing away here, does actually go on that basis and, you know, add more. You know, there is things to add to a remake that's not just, you know, complete stagnation there. That would just keep it pretty dry. You also have Vivian here. Some of these are out of order. I apologize, but I'm going over the ones I can remember at first. Vivian, which actually is an evil person. They are technically not all bad people, everyone, because they're just doing their job that they were assigned to. But Vivian and her sisters, Vivian does get, I guess, bullied and abandoned by her sisters and replaced with Dupless, actually, which is something hilarious, because Dupless is a funny guy, which is a great villain. One of the best villains to ever exist. As a kid, that was a very troublesome time to figure out what the heck is going on, but game did it pretty well to actually, you know, trick our childhood brains. If you played this when you were an adult, you're probably like, this is so silly, but it makes sense. It's just so, it's Mario. It makes sense. Vivian, one of the best partners, ghosting availability, similar to, I think, I don't know, Bao, right? That was her name in the other game? In the original Paper Mario? She's on screen somewhere here. Bao from the original game, the ghosting ability to hide underneath objects and go invisible, basically, in the, you know, out-of-sequence fighting sequences that are going on there. And then, moving forward, we got Bomberman. My goat, my thing, my favorite backstory on that guy. I don't want to say anything that's like too spoiler-esque, because there's Vivian backstory that's really like, oh, okay, like, damn, that's crazy. That you wouldn't even expect as a child, but this bomb dude got, he got it rough, dude. Like, it's, I'm laughing, but it's actually pretty sad. Again, because people will play the remake as their first time playing this game. So I won't go into too many details, but that man, understand these backstories. These characters, if there's anything different, I'll get into the improvements and kind of upgrades that Thousand Year Door had from the original Paper Mario, which clearly is a thing you were looking for. If you played the original, you're like, okay, maybe this depth could be added. And the depth of your partners, I wouldn't say the original Paper Mario has zero. It definitely has some, but the depth of your partners in this game is just like, you actually feel bad for a lot of them. Like Koopa, you feel bad for the Bomb, you feel bad for Vivian, you feel bad for Flurry, you feel bad. You feel bad for so many people. Yoshi, I guess you don't, because he just hatched out, but it's like, you feel bad for so many partners in this game. It is just, it's a great storytelling game. And then you also have the optional partner of Miss Mouse, which I don't think there's too much to feel bad in that one, right? I have to say, that's pretty normalized backstory there, just kind of chilling and being, well, this badge hunter, which, cool idea, cool concept, but, you know, kind of sly execution from the original game. They kind of had a mouse guy that was not a partner, but he was very cool as well. And will say, just gotta point this out, been playing the original Paper Mario, actually never fully played it as a child, was too old, just had the GameCube, right, didn't have the N64, but Paratrooper, bro, how I wish he were in like, I get Yoshi's kind of a replacement, but that dude was so cool. Like, he was so, a pink bomb as well. Some of these, like, again, the depth of Paper Mario the original is there to an extent. It's just amplified the storytelling aspect of these like side characters, and it's like you really do kind of like grow attached to their plot lines and all, especially when you're getting them as a partner. Then by the end of it, the game is so sad because like everything's going to shit basically. Obviously, you know, you prevail because it's a Mario game, but these partners, it is nice to see that a game actually gave depth to characters that you wouldn't expect. I'm not expecting a Goomba to have depth, or a Koopa. I'm not expecting that. Like, sure, maybe, you know, in some, like, other off-sequel game of, like, a Mario Party, Mario Kart, let's give them depth because they're just a, you know, free money pit game. But a Thousand Year Door, a literal RPG storytelling game, to give this much level, even on some of the villains, actually, I would say too much more, but some of these villains, you actually do like, oh, okay then, goddamn. I do admire how much heart that's put into that. These games that I'm going to be talking about a lot more throughout these videos that I do are much more heart than they are, and passion than they are just like, oh yeah, this gameplay mechanic is so pristine, this, you know, sequence of events is so great. While there are great things, you know, how Paper Mario does play in an RPG sense, don't get me wrong, it is much more kind of the story behind that gameplay is what drives it for me. Look at Sonic Adventure, look at this, Paper Mario, the next video is going to be something similar with the game I don't even play the franchise of anymore, but that one game I played of it, peak perfection. And I think Paper Mario kind of excels in the story aspect of these partners, which, again, you do not have this anticipation for. You expect Mario to have a basic Mario story, and then kind of things fall into place, and then yada, yada, yada. It definitely isn't that. It's much more, oh, let me actually, like, see what's going on here. I'll actually be invested, and you would be. And you will be if you never played the game at all. The improvements from the original Paper Mario to the Thousand Year Door are pretty vast, pretty impactful, I would say, though I will mention just this idea, and you can agree or disagree, I'm more curious what you actually think, this idea that some of these are, if not unnecessary, just a bit overly done, which I can understand an argument for either or. Personally, I actually like these implementations. These are, again, positives, I would say. We'll point out a negative at the end of this kind of little section here, but positives: stylish. I don't know why they didn't have this in the original. I don't even know how you could think of this concept, matter of fact. How do you even think of the concept of there's style points in an RPG game? But it's actually such a great idea, because you think about everything going on. You're literally on a stage performing for people. Obviously, the original Paper Mario's not as, show-esque going on here as literal the Thousand Year Door is. It is a physical show going on that's, throughout the entire game. Even some certain, stars of, let's say, I believe it's a third or fourth star with the Rock Hawk, and you're kind of doing all of that. You're literally competing in, a wrestle-style mania type of thing where it's just go through, the crowd's cheering, they're hype. Oh my god, the upset just happened. You can't even attack these other guys, and you gotta gulp them with Yoshi. What the heck? Who expected this? I do like that they added more of a stylish mechanic to the game, and even more style to the game to give a more era of suspense, a better sequence of oh wait, this isn't just some straightforward game where I gotta just beat enemy, you always gonna beat them, you always gonna succeed, blah blah, do this, that, and the other. There's literal parts of this game you cannot win. It's not too many, but there is enough where it's that's different. Where the heck am I gonna look at a game that's like Mario that's gonna be we tricked you. You gotta do this thing. This thing will happen. This event will happen. And if it don't happen, you can't win. And it's okay. And then you get an amazing partner in Yoshi. Just phenomenal. But off track a little bit there. Stylish itself. You literally do that. You get more appeal because you're doing style points. You do it in action. And then whether that be prior to the action or after or during, there's a quick time event during or after or before that you do this quick time event, and then from there, boom, you get stylish points from that. That gives you more appeal to your star power, and your star power is very nice because there's, I would say, arguably better star moves in the Thousand Year Door than there would be in, let's say, Paper Mario the original, and then you kind of move forward past Paper Mario the original and Thousand Year Door, there's nothing. So they kind of, this last stand of, the star power stuff, it does make it a nice little nuanced niche. Now, I don't think you need it. I don't think there's enough difficulty in this game to have it, but I do like at least there's this premise of, hey, why not add this thing that could kind of give an extra layer to the gameplay sense that we already have? And again, there's reasons why this game's getting a remake. There's things added that the other games probably could have thought of, but didn't until they knew they had a hit from the original Paper Mario. And that improvement is something I'm very proud of that Paper Mario has actually done. Even if it's something small, it's just the idea that there actually is something we can do that's further than this amazing game we made prior. Next up would be super guarding. Now, this one is definitely the one that's well, yes, it exists. I agree with you. It is there. It is implementation that is different and new. But was it needed? Now, again, kind of mentioned that this game is a bit easy. There's not too many things that are whoa, we gotta take a back seat. While there is some, you have to lose sequences, for sure, that exists. That's a great little thing, because it's just, again, more care put into it than just, this basic, just beat them all up, dude. There's more care, obviously, right? There's plot behind that. There's a reasoning. But Super Guard, if you don't know what that is, Super Guard is where you have a quick time event similar to Stylish, but this is when your opponent is attacking. So you have guarding, which you're just, Mario puts his cap down, everyone goes like this, they're hiding, they're scared. You're guarding, you take one less hit point of damage. Okay, great, awesome, cool. That's in the original Paper Mario. That's always been there. I think it's actually harder to do in the original Paper Mario, but it's always been there. Super guarding is when you press the B button on the perfect timing, and then from there, not only do you take 0 damage, you make your opponent take 1 damage. Guaranteed. Always happens. Now, it is obviously a little bit harder to land than a normal guard, or just not guarding in general if you don't want to press any button, but it does give a layer. Again, I can hear arguments why you don't need either of these. Stylish, you don't need it, right? You don't need this. We already have enough good moves. We have great badges. We have great partners. Everything's great. We don't need more. Understandable, but the fact that it's there is an extra layer. Similar thing to Super Guard. Now, Super Guard's a little bit different because, let's say someone's about to do 15 damage to you in one shot. I pressed B at the perfect timing, and that got mitigated to do literal air. Well, it doesn't always counter to do 1 damage. If it's a projectile, it wouldn't. But for most, 90% of attacks, 99% probably, it does make the opponent take 1 damage, which I get why it's there. It is a kid game. You are meant to kind of, not be destroying everything in this game. Obviously, if you're going to play this when you're a bit older, let's say I'm trying to play this game right now, well, I probably wouldn't be super guarding as much just because there's no necessity for it. I'm not too worried about losing in this game because there's a lot of easy ways to get through it. But I do admire at least the aspect to where they put this in, where it's like, okay, we upgrade this guard ability. Did we need to make it as good as we did? No. But did we at least upgrade this guard ability? Yeah. I do think at least adding some new kind of level of depth to something that already exists and giving it just like, boom, there's more to it, is something that is at least acknowledgeable, even to an extent admirable. They could have just took out guarding completely, and it's just like, well, at that point, why was it even in the first place? We should just upgrade from here. We shouldn't downgrade. And I do think Paper Mario Thousand Year Door does do that to a decent extent. Again, some of these you can say, I get why you don't want them. And I understand it, but I do at least like the premise of, hey man, we tried this, maybe it's not needed, maybe you don't want it, but let's say you're doing like a challenge run, or a kid is trying to play the game. Do you like really hate this mechanic that bad? No, it's just something that just exists. Maybe it could have been toned down, fine, but I do like that it does exist as something just new and an upgrade version of what we had previous, because if we're just going to go over the same things again, why even make the second game? It wouldn't make much sense. So I do like Super Guard that exists. The depth of it, hit or miss, but I do acknowledge that this is a fun implementation, and that's what the game is meant to be. A fun time, and maybe even a little bit easy at times. It is a Mario game. The final point that I do admire and pretty much would say is undisputable great about this game would be that there is different paper shapes. You know, this is called Paper Mario. It's called Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, but this is a paper damn Mario game, right? So you're thinking, okay, maybe I should be able to turn into different paper objects. Well, the original didn't have that. Not really. Not anything, actually. It was called it, but you were just paper. I mean, I guess you could do like the spin thing with like the Z button. That's cool, but you weren't paper. Like, you were paper, but you weren't paper. You know what I mean? We turn into a sailboat, I don't know what we're calling this, kite? Is that, I don't know why that'd be a kite. The paper airplane, that's not a kite. We're turning into all these little shapes and things. I think that's just a little pretty cool. I don't know. And the kind of running gag with this guy is just so angry of like, this is a curse, Mario. Oh my god, you don't want this. And he just like tries like to nag you against it, but then it's actually something beneficial. Then it becomes like acknowledgement throughout, like a self-awareness throughout the game, that the guy's like, oh, you're back again? Like, are you starting to actually want these abilities? Like, I think it's just a cool little thing. Even like the paper, you know, roll-up thing, you know what I'm talking about, like the thing that rolls, literally roll-up thing. I think it's a cool little asset. Why not do it? It's called Paper Mario. Let's actually add some paper elements. I mean, yeah, no, I just think that makes sense. So throughout all those details of explaining why I like the paper elements, maybe these new mechanics of Super Guard, stylish, even the partner's level of depth and care, and even, I guess you could call attacks something that's more depth. Sure, why not? They're different attacks, definitely, than, like, you know, Bo slapping someone like this back and forth is much different than Flurry doing, or Vivian, rather, doing the, you know, YBAX thing, and it's like, you know, a fire punch. Well, it's nothing, you know, too crazy. It is something that actually is a bit different. I do think that overall, the sales, I mean, we got to talk about that. When we're talking about a remake, you're thinking like, okay, why would a specific game get one? Like, you know, you look at Super Mario Sunshine, got a, you know, kind of doing there, got Super Mario Odyssey, yada, yada, yada. And, you know, you could figure out, like, let's say a Mario Kart. Why is this Mario Kart getting a Mario Kart 8, 9, 10, you know, whatever at this rate? I don't know what number we're on at this point. But why are these things happening? It's because these games make money. This game made a ton of money. I actually do think the next Paper Mario after this, Super Paper Mario, made more because it was released on a new console. You kind of bought the Wii, then you bought Paper Mario, Super Paper Mario. But Thousand Year Door, I mean, this game made bank. And if you're just going to be a company and just think logically, yeah, no, there's much more beyond than just it made a lot of money. Clearly, not even just as a company standard, just as like a person standard, again, with the improvements and everything else. And the things they could add in this, which I don't expect anything crazy, they kind of get lazy with these remakes. It's not really a remake, it's more like a modernization, but these remakes, they can get some, niceness. Let's say we have extra badges, as we can now turn into, instead of just, Wario and Luigi, maybe we could turn into Waluigi, or Daisy, or, I don't know, just cool different characters, maybe even from different, Nintendo, games at this point. I don't know, let me turn it to Metroid. I don't know, why not do that? Quality of life changes they could add, kind of like, if you could disable the features of, maybe stylish and everything else, and kind of make it a hard mode going on there, which you could kind of do that on your own, but why not have a full-on feature that just, like, you can't opt out of, like, this quitter mentality of, like, nah, I have to stay through, I have to prevail through this, or, well, I can't win, and then I'm going to reset the entire thing. Why not have such a difficulty for that? Why not make the game have a literal hard difficulty for how easy it is in a lot of senses, because of what we went over already with kind of Super Guardian stylish, or even add more badges. There's badges, don't get me wrong, there's a lot. Why not add more? They could do a lot of these things. Now, I don't expect anything crazy. Again, realistically, I'm not here to say, yeah, they're going to add 5, 6, 7 different features I just mentioned. I don't even think they're going to add one. But the fact that it exists, and this is a game that clearly is beloved, this is kind of what everyone's been hoping for Paper Mario. Like, you look at the Mario and Luigi series and Paper Mario, they're both RPG series, right? But what kind of Paper Mario differed from is that it was much less of this kind of straightforward approach. Again, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door kind of did that. The original Paper Mario kind of did that. And, well, Mario and Luigi, Bowser's Inside Story, Partners in Time, exist as different games with different, characters and all. It is much more a straightforward game that is I would say, it's much less story depth, though there is a good story, than the Thousand Year Door. While the gameplay may be a little bit better, arguably, up to debate, I would consider it better, but again, up to debate there. I do feel Thousand Year Door, it has a story behind it to make it worth the remake, easily. But could it have more implementation of mechanics? I do think it could be there. I would be more hopeful if they kind of showed me anything that gave us a little hope for it, but nonetheless, this is what everyone's been wanting Paper Mario to return to. Super Paper Mario was pretty good. I would say the story really carried that game compared to the Thousand Year Door, because the battle style was a bit awkward in my opinion. Kind of got better as time passed on, like Origami King and all that, but, talk about Paper Mario Thousand Year Door here. There's things that they could add that can make this just a tad bit better gameplay-wise. Again, it's not bad, it's just, it could be better, right? There's better that have existed prior with the original Paper Mario, which I do think also deserves something to get, like, not a remake, but, like, a new variant of that game. I like those original Crystal Stars. I like their amount of depth and all that stuff as well. And I wish that was the thing, but I do feel that Thousand Year Door fits that mold, and I hope that this remake is something, if not of value, to a little bit more substance to the future, at least gives us a little thought of, hey, maybe just the next Paper Mario is literally a sequel to the Thousand Year Door. It's right there. It's done for you by having this sell amazingly, by having the remake probably sell amazingly when it does come out. Why not just open that bag of worms?